Hey YouTube, how we doing everybody? A lot of people kind of confused or curious about what the heck is going to happen for Raleigh, and we do get clarification in an extensive article actually from Psionics talking about what is the reason behind the seeding for the Raleigh Major. Why do we continue to see international competition not play international competition in the first round? And a couple other tools for you guys to talk about. First things first, we're going to break down the article. We're going to go over the specifics that they mention. Where they're going to talk about the seeding. They do have a detailed sheet expressing why things are the way they are. I'm also going to remind you guys that we're going off of Buchholz seeding and not off of just standard 1v16, 1v or 2v15, so on and so forth. Normally they would flip those anyway and do 2v16 just to make sure the perfect bracket works out. And then we're going to talk about some additional tools that they have added to the website. So with that in mind, we're going to go to the blog post first and talk about the article. First things that they mention is, hey, we're going to explain how the seeding is, which is good. I do think putting out a dedicated article with the framework and the specifics detailing why they're doing what they're doing is a W. More communication is always better. So they talk about the ideology. They talk about, hey, we always try to take two primary factors into place. The initial seeding, the preliminary seedings of a regional slot, and then their performance, which makes sense. How did they do and where were they at pre-existing? I think those are both major factors that should apply. This methodology is based upon regional slots rather than individual teams. If you guys aren't familiar, if I, as the number 4 seed in North America, perform as the best team at a major, I become NA1. It is not NA1 seed. It is how does the best performing NA team play? How does the best performing NA team play second, third? Like, that's how they figure out what NA1, NA2, NA3 is. They say this as an example to illustrate. If Space Station Gaming is designated as NA2 entering an event, but they win the entire event, they are now considered the NA1 slot for the region. It's how they calculate the points, the major average points, all that kind of stuff. They then break down specifically, and I'm not going to make you guys read all of this, but they have a big chart that basically explains it very, very easily. So they go, okay, what were the initial seeds, which are all on the side? This is how they were ranked coming into Birmingham. Okay, EU1 was the 1 seed, NA1 was the 2 seed, so on and so forth. Okay, they have the seeds as follows. They then take how did they perform, which is what the order is here for the most part. And they go, okay, EU1, K Corp 1, NA took 2, Sam took top 3, so on and so forth. And then the last piece of information that's very important is the average M1 seed / placement, which is the average of these two numbers, which is how they are then deciding to seed teams for the following major in Raleigh. Okay? The way that they're going about tiebreakers is then taking the placement. The most recent event, how did they do? Sam did better than Mina because Mina lost to NRG while Sam made it a little bit further past Vitality. So even though their averages are the same, how they performed most recently in international competition is the most important, which then gives us our seeds for Major 2, 1 through 16, which makes sense. To me, this makes sense. This is how they should do the seeding. The complication, though, and the thing that people are most upset about is Buchholz seeding. When you do Buchholz, you don't just do 1v16, 2v15, 3 versus 14, which we will actually showcase what that would look like by the end of the video. I will type those out and showcase this is what first rounds would be, this is how they would play out, so on and so forth. But what Buchholz does is it actually takes the midpoint. They want everybody to be equidistant in their matchup. They want everything to come in as fair as possible. They're still going to give advantages to the top seeds. This is nothing new. They did this for the first major as well, but they want everybody to be exactly 8 placements away from their competition. So EU1 is going to play the 9 seed, which is Mina 2. NA1 is going to play the 10 seed, which unfortunately is NA3. And that continues to create these inter-regional matchups where everybody is just joking about like, hey, this is NA Open 7, blah, blah, blah. But it does make sense. Initially, the first round matchups, yeah, they kind of stink. I'll admit to it. And these are displayed on the graphic here on Liquipedia. Casey is going to be playing Mina 2, which is Twisted Minds. Energy is playing Gen G. Fury is playing Wildcard. Falcons is playing Team Secret. Dig is playing Virtus Pro. SSG is playing Ultimates. Vitality is playing TSM. And Mates is playing Foot. A lot of people are upset the fact that we have NA versus NA in both of the first rounds. Now, something that is cool is they have updated the website with Blast. If you guys go to blast.tv/RL, they do have now a simulation. So if you guys want to do your predictions, it works really, really great. Allows you to see. But hypothetically, say everything goes according to plan and the high seeds always win. What does that do for the bracket? How does it work out? You would see in the top 8, K-Corp, NRG, Dig, Falcons, Vitality, Furia, Space Station, and Gen G. And how many of those would be international matches? I mean, there's some pretty crazy stuff at the tail end here. Gen G would actually be eliminated. It'd be between Space Station and Gen G. So you would see more international of the same if everything went according to the high seed. That is bound to happen when you have 4 teams from a region versus only 2. That's just kind of the numbers of the way that it works out. Now, I don't think things are going to go high seed every way. I think that'd be absolutely crazy. I do feel that there is going to be some early international matchups from Europe as well in the 1-0, potentially in the 2-0. That is to be expected. You're also going to see some 0-2 potentials, but very likely you're going to see like an OCE playing an APAC or an SSA, and then you might seeing some of those regions in the 1-2 round or in the 1-run round actually have to play out each other. It's just the way that it works. It's just the way that it is. So I know understanding people are kind of upset about the fact that NA is playing NA, but, and I'm going to edit this real quick. Let me do my prediction just very, very quickly. I'm not going to put any thought into this. All right, so now that you guys are back from the edit, I did this really quickly. I'm just going gut. If things go the way that my gut just says, hey, this is the way that it is, and I didn't try to manipulate this, people in chat can comment on that. The amount of times that we see same nation play each other, same region play each other, qualification that happens once for EU, and then outside of that, here again for EU, and that's it. It happens twice for both NA and EU. If and only if things go kind of in a predictive mentality. So there is open for cause and open for concern of how this may play out. And I know, again, I don't want you guys to take anything into account. I'll have my official predictions in a future video and explanations as to why. And I know they're going to be wrong. Although last time we started like 16-0 or whatever the heck it was. I do not foresee that happening. I think Rocket League is as competitive as it possibly can be. This is going to be a really tough one to predict. We're probably, when we do watch parties, going to predict day to day because it's the only way we can do it. But the bracket sim on the Blast official website is dope. It's cool. It doesn't unfortunately show the playoffs. It doesn't allow you to fully predict. So unfortunately, you can't do that. But I'm sure that'll unlock as we get into those days. But when Buchholz does what it's supposed to, it should work out. It should work out the way that it does. And it's really unfortunate that you see NA and NA play each other, but that is due to the seeding. It is not due to the format. That is just NA's performances, putting them in a seeding spot. If NA played better, that wouldn't happen. It's why you don't see it from EU until later rounds. As the format fills itself out, it will see some of those circumstances, which is bound to happen when you have more teams than others. Do I think they could manipulate it like they've done in the past and miss those and switch them around? 100%. Ideally, what I want is a lottery system. What I want is the top seed gets to call their shot and pick who they play like we did a couple years ago. I think that would be the best system. I think it would make for a really good entertainment. I think you could put some of the chuckleheads on stream and do it that way. I think that would be the best. I think those moments were cool. You could see a bunch of team streams of the organizations, almost like an NFL draft type mentality where they're sitting in the war room and they're like, okay, we're going to call in, we're going to make our pick, all that kind of. They could turn it into a really cool event. That's what I would like to see happen. And maybe if we beg and plead and after the events are done, we can tell them that's what we want. Maybe they just save it for the World Championship. I don't know. But I would like to see teams have control over who their competition is and who they play. That's just the selfishness in me. Whether that'll actually happen, whether that'll actually become a thing again, I don't know. But as for the breakdown, as for why things are the way that they are, Buchholz says, hey, 8 seeds apart, everybody gets an equidistant challenge. Yes, if NA performs better, that will change. And that's what I think people need to like stomach, is if NA performs the way that people expect them to, then that will change and they will no longer be in the spot or in the seed that they are based upon average placements, because they have moved up and it should balance it out a little bit. You're probably still going to see a little bit of it. I think it's inevitable with that many teams. When half the teams are from just NA and EU, I expect it. But things should play out the way that they go. So if you guys do have any additional questions about it, again, I will link everything that I'm talking about in the description down below. I will have details. I'll probably link that article itself in my roster documents if you guys really want to see it. It should be really easy to find somewhere at the top on the front page. But if you do have any questions, stop by the stream, twitch.tv/Lawler. We'll be doing major coverage all weekend long, which is going to get me in trouble because it's actually my significant other's birthday that weekend and we were supposed to go do something, but now I can't because of work. So if you guys want to like sub to the channel, if you guys want to do very nice things and I can get her a really nice gift, that'd be appreciated. Anyway, it's going to do it for me today. Any other questions, let me know in the comments down below. Stop by the stream. See you in the next one. Peace.